Two buddies are having a conversation about a girl that one of the buddies just met. The first buddy says, "Hey, how are things going with you and what's her name?" And the second buddy says, "Well, we went all the way the other night." And he said it with disappointment in his voice. And so the first buddy says, "Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. I know you really liked her." And the second buddy goes, "Yeah, man, I thought she was different. Had high hopes for her, but I guess I was wrong." The moral of this story is you would be surprised at how many times this conversation or this type of conversation has played out among men. I want you to understand how important it is to us as men that you ask us to wait. So if I talk to you about 10 things that women need to understand about men, that's number one. You need to understand how important it is for you to ask us to wait. Now, before I go to number two, I would be remiss if I don't share with you the background for why I'm having this conversation with you today. My best good friend, he made reference to one of the other presentations that I've done a few months ago, where I talked about a gentleman who had the capacity to juggle 5 women as though it were a basketball team. And he told me, he said, "Man, you have the intellectual range to have done a more adequate job at describing the core of that man who outwardly gets falsely judged and miscategorized because people don't know from whence he comes and people don't have enough information about him. And so he gets categorized unjustly or unjustifiably as something other than what he really is at his core." Because my good friend was absolutely right by bringing this to my attention, I first of all want to offer a public apology to my best good friend for not being thorough in real time with doing that presentation. And so I want to follow that presentation with this information. The same brother who has the capacity to juggle as many as 5 women at one time, well, he is, and I've said this, he is what's right about men. He is who I look up to and admire. And before I share much of the information that I like to share, I actually run it by him just so I can make sure that the level of accuracy and the calibration of the information is consistent with my core message. This brother is about as sincere and honest and genuine and loving and caring as any individual that I've ever met in my life. If it were not for him, he gave me some advice that brought me to where I am today many years ago. He said, "Jay, you are at your best when you are on your disciplines," which caused me at that time, because I have so much admiration and respect for his wisdom, I had to reevaluate and reassign my values and principles and the direction that I was going. And my overall life and quality of life has greatly improved since accepting the advice from my best good friend. He's the guy who I told my own children and would tell my own children if anything, God forbid, would happen to me tragically, that you are to go to him, my best good friend, in order to get whatever information that I would share with you for the rest of your lives going forward, because I know that he would be the best representation and reflection of my core principles and values for you. Now, I wanted you to know that because we have to separate who the man is from where the man is on his timeline of development. And I want to share with you 10 things, sisters, that you need to understand about men and the way we love. Because my best good friend knew that sharing the information that he did with me was going to interfere with the time that we would spend with one another. But more important than the time that we would spend with one another, his love for me was that my life would greatly improve and be enhanced. And for him, I am forever grateful for pointing me in the direction that he did. That's what I mean by tough love. Now, so number one, we want you to ask us to wait. Number two, if a man truly loves you, he will wait. And number three, the reason why he wants to wait is because he wants to show you and prove to you that he is a man, and a man can wait. Little boys can't wait. See, if he's allowed to wait for you, then he's basically proving where he is on his timeline to you, and he's also proving how much you mean to him. Number four, for men, it's not about you, sister, how you look and what you have to offer. It's about timing. It's about where he is on his timeline of development, because men need time to develop. That's number five. Now, number six, when we talk about who, you fell in love with who he is. You fell in love with who the man is. And it's difficult not to fall in love with a man who is genuine, and you see how sincere and honest he is, and transparent he is. That's who he is. But where is he on his developmental timeline is what you need to be concerned with when you meet him. This is what determines what you can expect of him and how he will approach you. And it also lets you know why you should ask him to wait. Because in asking him to wait, you get to determine to what extent you will give of yourself and to what extent you can expect that he would give of himself. Number seven, men have the emotional and psychological capacity to love one woman only. And, or I should say, we have the capacity to love and desire multiple women. Now, number eight, this is not a good or a bad thing. This is nature. Nature hardwired that desire in us. Some people refer to it as a wandering sexual appetite. But we have the capacity to desire many women, and it is not a moral issue. It was what was ordained, or what was put forth, what was ordered of us back during the hunter-gatherer society, to be fruitful and multiply. Now, with one woman, we can't multiply. We can only add. In order to multiply, we need multiple women to populate the earth and to extend human existence. Number nine, I want to say it this way. R&B legend Major Harris said, "Love won't let me wait." Very beautiful song. But I'm here to tell you, sister, that love is the only thing powerful enough that will cause a man to wait and will cause him to want to wait. And you say, wait how long? However long it pleases you. Now, Al Green went further to tell you how powerful love is when he said, love is something that can make you do wrong, but it can also make you do right. And that's why it has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with love. It has nothing to do with what you offer. It has everything to do with, when it comes to men, where we are on our timeline for development. And so number 10, I promised Tammy that I would find these good brothers for you. And so I'm issuing a challenge to the good brothers who fit the description of honest and genuine, who's not afraid of commitment. I want you to reply to this post. Just announce who you are, and maybe give us a brief description of your values, and just announce that you're not afraid of commitment. And then, so this is not the ice bucket challenge. This is not the running man challenge. This is the good brothers. I want you to be heard. I want you to be represented. And so reply to this post. Just a very brief, lightweight, here I am. I fit that description. I qualify. I am not afraid of commitment. And then we'll just go from there. Because, guys, I'm only here to help. All right? I want for you what I want for myself. I want you to be happy. I do. I want you to be healthy. I want you to live a life of longevity. I want you to live a life of fulfillment. But above all these things combined, I wish upon you many, many blessings. I am looking forward to your response. And as always, my name is Jay Jackson.